After months of negotiation, 13 stolen Ethiopian artefacts have been finally returned home after they were seized by British forces in 1868 during the Battle of Magdala. The Ethiopian government also announced that it has regained control of the historic city of Lalibela, famous for its iconic rock-cut churches, and that was from rival Tigrayan forces. Now, the city of Axum, which is the former capital of the Ethiopian Empire, and according to local tradition, the current resting place of the Ark of the Covenant, has also been affected by the fighting. But what is the significance and the impact of this war on the Ethiopian cultural and religious heritage? Joining us to discuss this is Professor Mammo, Muchie, researcher at the Tshwane University of Technology. Professor, a very good morning to you. Thank you so much for your time. Let's just talk about that question that I put out today. What is the importance of this war on Ethiopian heritage and culture?
Thank you very much again for focusing on this important problem. You are right. If you remember in 1868 when the British went to Magdala, and the emperor of Ethiopia at that time, he said, "Believing myself to be a great lord, I gave you battle. But because of the worthlessness of my artillery, all my thoughts were in vain. I have intended, if God has so decreed, to conquer the whole world. And it was my desire to die if my purposes could not be fulfilled." So he committed suicide instead of being killed or taken by them. And from that tradition, where the leader didn't want to give up, he actually preferred that he killed himself. I think what we should really learn from that is, at the current time also, there's extraordinary treasure, historical treasure Ethiopia has. What doesn't it have? So many manuscripts, many things have been stolen, taken, not just into Britain, but to Italy, to all over. I mean, the Netherlands and all over Europe and other places they have been stolen, and still the heritage treasure restitution is still being discussed, and railways have yet been not completely been arranged to make sure that the restitution, the return of this extraordinary treasures can be done. I think we have a challenge now. As you just asked me, the current war is also very disastrous. Imagine Lalibela, the ancient, and Axum, all these important areas where there's a lot of treasure. They are under attack, which is and exactly now. We now heard that they have left Lalibela, the Tigrayan People's Liberation Front, but we don't know yet how much of those resources that have been also auctioned or stolen or destroyed. We have to study has to be done to find out exactly what has happened, what impact when they were under control, what they did to it, whether they also what they have done to it. So I think you're right. It's the country is really not in this in a very difficult situation, and I hope a change will come where all these treasures now can be also returned. Even if they are not going to be returned now, some of the manuscripts, now the British Library is now saying that they can also do digital. There could be now, because we have technology, the ways by which they could be returned also by also digitalizing some of these ancient manuscripts. But some of the artifacts is not easy to do it, but on the manuscript side, the ancient knowledge, the rich knowledge that have been taken from Ethiopia also, that have to be returned. There's so many. You will not believe on the knowledge area, pharmaceutical industry in many spheres. In Africa, you will not believe how much knowledge there has been, and we don't know it. But we should really learn it, understand it, and value it, and really also recognize it and reclaim it. That's what we should do. And that's what my suggestion is.
And it seems like all of this knowledge, or a lot of it currently, professors, owned by the former colonial masters of the African continent at the moment. We know that there are 12 tablets that are sitting in a British museum, which are essentially the replicas of the Ark of the Covenant. And there's a negotiation that's now taken place to get those back as well. But, Professor, why are these negotiations? I mean, these artifacts were stolen.
No, you're absolutely right. What the British did in Kenya, the Mammo movement in that area at that time, what they have taken, they have actually paid reparation. They didn't pay a lot of money, but at least they paid something. For as you rightly put it, for all these treasures that have been taken from Ethiopia, they were stolen, they were auctioned, they are still all over. Not just in the museums of Britain, but and other places, but they are also in private sectors. People have taken them, so they need to be. The inventory has to be made, where the real efforts should be made to bring them back, to also know exactly where they are and who is having them. You see, if we auction them and then these private people take them, you see. So many treasures have been stolen like that. So as you rightly put it, there must be a way to not really ask them with negotiation, but demand that they are our treasures, they are our knowledge heritage. They should come back. They should be returned, and then those that have taken them should apologize, actually, and then should even pay reparation for all the damage they did. That's what we should do. And in some cases, they have been using them in the museums, all right? And some of them, they because of the covenant, like the religious ones, they have not shown them, exposed them. We're told about 11 or so of them, the tabot they called. But on the other things, they're all, they have been used, including the hair of Emperor Theodros. It has been in the museum, in the British Military Museum. So I think, as you rightly put it, it's not negotiation. It should be demand. So the government of Ethiopia should demand that they should be returned. Not only Ethiopia, but all other countries. Many parts of Africa, there's so many treasures that have been taken.
Now, Professor, let's bring it closer to the current war that's happening at the moment. Now, of course, there's still plenty of history within Ethiopia. Lalibela was under the Tigrayan People's Liberation Front's rule, if I can call it that, since August. I mean, you do say that we'll have to take inventory to see if there's anything that's been stolen and perhaps auctioned off. We've been asking, where does the Tigrayan People's Liberation Front get its money from? Could they be in collusion to sell some of the artifacts that is within such an important city as Lalibela?
Yeah, again, it's very, very important. What we know now is that the Tigray People's Liberation Front has been getting very strong support from the Western world part of the world. So, and as you rightly identified it, the treasures that were taken were by the colonial powers at that time in 1868. After that, all these things. So what we have seen with this Tigray People's Liberation Front is actually neo-colonialism. In other words, the colonial project is still there. They are using internal actors, all right? The divisive ethnic dividers like the TPLF, they have been used by the divide and rule from the colonial times. They have been using them. And so they have been actually now trying to do exactly all the things that have been doing the colonial times they were doing, including taking treasures, auctioning, many things like that. Inventories that we don't know exactly what has been taken. I can't say that now, but all we can do is once they have left now, Lalibela, what we need to find out now is exactly what has been taken, what has not been taken, That has to be the inventory has to be made, and real facts have to come. Once that happens, then we know exactly who has been using it, where did they take it, who, again, from the external access, who benefited from this, and in what way did they relate with the Tigray People's Liberation Front to do the theft and everything. That's what we should find out now. I think that is the next important task. Once the war is from the Lalibela area is finished, and the government has taken charge, then the next step is what has been done during the period when they were controlling it. What did they do? There's a lot of treasure in the Lalibela. You would not believe. I mean, it's an extraordinary place. I mean, it's a historical place, unbelievable. You know, even the way the church is built, everything with one stone, extraordinary. 11 churches, unbelievable. I mean, it's a historical place, a treasure, and it's been recognized by UNESCO and everything like that. So I think what we need to find out now is that, as you rightly put it, exactly what relationship of the external actors imposing a neo-colonial project now on Ethiopia. That's what they are trying to do now. I mean, it's unbelievable. And then what do they use? Ethnic division. You know, the ethnic division we should not have. And this is anti-African, not just anti-Ethiopian. Yeah. Anything they are doing against Ethiopia now is anti all of us. Anti-South African, anti-Ethiopian, anti all of Africa. That's what, in other words,
Yeah, Professor, let's leave it there. Thank you so much for your time in that regard. A very important conversation that we're having there with Professor Mammo Muchie, African analyst and researcher at the University of Tshwane University of Technology. He's coming to us live from the nation's capital at the moment.